The final two factions of Warhammer 3 have arrived. There's a trailer, Nurgle vs Slaanesh, link in the description if you want to check it out before you watch this video. We're just going to go through and see what units there are to know what we can expect to be in the Nurgle and Slaanesh armies, as well as anything else of interest. First of all, we get this little scene of a chaos spawn, not very exciting. In the bottom though, we can see some Nurglings, and on the right there we can see what seems to be some kind of plague toad froggy type geezer. So some monstrous infantry, some regular infantry probably, and maybe some cavalry type unit there as well. Moving on, our old boy's having more flashbacks, and he sees some demonettes. So these are going to be some infantry for Slaanesh. They've got their lobster claw crabby arms. They look pretty quick as well, so maybe a witch elves kind of vibe, and of course they are scantily clad. So glass cannons perhaps, big damage dealers, but not a lot of protection. But outside of the factions, we see a lot of focus on the book that this old boy seems to have dropped. He's realised, oh shit, I've lost it out my holster. Where's it gone? Bollocks, it's over there. It's magicking up. What does it all mean? Now we see a whole lot of stuff for Nurgle though. The centerpiece here, a great unclean one, surely. That big boy in the middle with the big sword. A single entity monster, perhaps going to have a lot of debuffs and things around him. We can also see Nurglings across the bottom, the Chaos Spawn in the background, a Beast of Nurgle to the right of the Great Unclean one there with the funky hair. Jabba the Hutt vibes going on. And then in the sky, we can see some rot flies, so going to have some flyers as well. A lot of different monsters and mobility, it seems. Only infantry we've seen so far is Nurglings. And moving back over to Sexman John, we see some Fiends of Slaanesh. Looking like a speedy type of cavalry, probably armor piercing with those big old claws as well. And then we see some absolutely disgusting looking chariots, probably some hell flayers. They look absolutely dreadful for everyone who is not on the Slaanesh side. So some powerful chariot type units there alongside the infantry and a little bit of cav we've seen so far. And then we're going back to Nurgle. Mostly stuff we've seen so far here. You can see the plague toads a little better, so they are looking like a cavalry option. And that leads us to the big man, the legendary lord of the Nurgle army, Kugath Plaguefather. This big chap on his throne. What he's truly capable of, we'll have to wait and see, but looking like a slow boy, if anything, so going to have something to make up for that, I'm sure. On the left, stuff we've seen already, the Beast of Nurgle on the far left there, a bunch of Nurglings across the bottom, Plague Toads on the right, Rotflies in the air. So that seems to be most of the Nurgle stuff we can see in this army. In this little clip here, though, we can spot this kind of single entity, possibly a Nurgle hero. Looks like he's up to something, not really sure what, some kind of plaguey priest, perhaps. Other than that, Hellflayers munching down the Nurglings. But then we do see some Nurglings attacking something, and then on the right here, you can see what looks like a monstrous infantry made of Nurglings. So I don't know if that's going to be a separate unit, or whether the Nurglings will be able to do that as an infantry, but it's pretty interesting all the same. Grandad's book's kicking off as a Plague Toad, munching down some infantry, and you can notice the rider stood on top of this Plague Toad is a lot bigger than the Plague Toads ridden by Nurglings we saw earlier. So it seems like there's going to be two types of Plague Toads. Perhaps this bigger one being armor-piercing or anti-large or just generally harder hitting. And then we see a Slaanesh Fiend murdering a Nurgle Forsaken, so Forsaken in there as a reskin. And then we see a Great Unclean one with some Nurglings around, mashing up some more Slaanesh infantry, which we haven't seen yet. Looks like a kind of marauder, almost like a Chaos Marauder, but with a spear and a shield. So maybe Slaanesh is going to have some cheaper infantry to get in there. Maybe these ones are anti-large, as that is kind of a speary type weapon. And then Grandad's hip's gone, he's down. And then we see the legendary Lord of Slaanesh, Nakari. This big freaky mofo, big single entity, looks very fast, looks like a big damage dealer. Again though, not really sure what to expect. Perhaps anyone in Tabletop can enlighten us if they know what kind of abilities and stuff he had in Tabletop. They might transfer over into Total War. But with that, we now have all of our legendary lords in Total War Warhammer 3. Or do we? Because we were promised 9 legendary lords at release, not including the Ogre DLC that wasn't announced. So that's 2 for Cathay, 2 for Kislev, 4 for each of the Chaos Gods. That's only 8. We're still missing a legendary lord. Who's it going to be? At the end of this trailer here as well, we do see an extra Nurgle unit that wasn't in the trailer, seemingly the Plague Bearers. These chunky chaps right here. Didn't see them in the trailer, but I guess they're in there, because there they are right there. Going to be some more infantry for Nurgle, but there we go. What do you reckon? Excited for Nurgle or Slaanesh? Hopefully we'll find out more in the coming weeks. Get some roster reveals, hopefully. Get some mechanics blogs for the campaign. And everyone can finally make the decision, which campaign do I want to play first in Warhammer 3. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. See you in the future.